Well, good morning or good afternoon from wherever you are tuning in from. My name is Angeline Constantino. I am the founder, coach, and podcaster of Let's Break the Silence with Angeline, where we help women amplify their voice, regain their power, and rediscover themselves after domestic abuse. So, welcome to the broadcast today, and please let us know where you are tuning in from. If you are watching the live right now, or if you are catching the replay, new episodes are available at letsbreakthesilence.com. And please like and subscribe to my Let's Break the Silence with Angeline on Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, Apple, and all the other live streams. So today I am super excited because we have a very special guest with us, and her name is Kelly Rudolph. So Kelly became a paramedic right out of high school in 1980. And although she was saving lives and delivering babies at age 18, her underlying low self-esteem would later lead to dangerous decisions that threatened her own life. In her 20s, she survived 2.5 years of rape and domestic violence. Fortunately, she found a way to heal the trauma in 1 hour with a Native American medicine man. So this is something that you're going to be, hearing about today. Amazingly, what people with similar stories often struggle for decades or a lifetime was released and hasn't bothered her since. Her company, PositiveWomenRock.com, is where she takes women over 40 from stuck and stressed to clear and confident about who they are, what they want, and how to get it in record time. She uses the same method that healed her and added in decades of extensive training, powerful experience, and consistently high results working with energy and the subconscious mind. Kelly is an excellent guide for women who want to tap into their own inner power to heal in mere minutes or hours without dwelling on problems or reliving painful experiences. So, without further ado, welcome, Kelly, to the broadcast. Good morning and welcome to my podcast. How are you doing?
Hey, Angeline. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to it.
Oh, same here, same here. So, Kelly, what is the time right now where you are?
I am in San Diego, California, and it is 8:14 a.m.
I love San Diego, and I had the pleasure of traveling to San Diego back in 2000. It was back in 2011 in September. It's been a while, but I love San Diego. It's so beautiful there,
It is. That's why I moved here. I was building my self-defense business, and I thought I could build it here in Fresno, which is in the center of California in the farmland, or I could build it somewhere else. Because as you're building a business, there are struggles either way. So I thought I'll struggle at the beach. I moved down here.
Struggle with the beach, right? Well, welcome to my podcast, and yes, the audience would. So for the audience and for the viewers who are tuning in, and for those people who are going to be watching the replay, please share your story. Who is Kelly Rudolph today versus who she was many years ago?
Well, fortunately, my self-esteem has gone up from then. I didn't grow up with a strong role model. My mom had low self-esteem. Her mom had low self-esteem. Her mother before her had low self-esteem. And I'm going to just guess that it went way up the line from there. And those things get passed down in our DNA. And so without a strong role model, I was just kind of flailing about as a kid. And I was a goody two shoes, so I wasn't getting in a lot of trouble. However, when someone would want to hang out with me, like when a guy would ask me out, because I didn't get asked out very often at all, which looking back, that was probably a good thing. Because when someone did want to date me or something, I was thrilled, and it didn't matter so much who it was. So I wasn't being discerning because I didn't have a large pool to choose from. And so I would get really excited and just kind of go with them. And it ended up, I was still, a good, solid, ethical person and things. I just didn't have the self-confidence to know that just because someone liked me, it didn't mean I had to like them and go out with them and let them into my life. So I let a couple of the wrong people into my life. And that's where things went awry. And so I was already working with George, who is the Native American medicine man I worked with, when I ended up in a domestic violence situation. And even though there are people we may know that have ways out for us, if we're supposed to learn lessons and we're supposed to be in a situation, we're in it. So even though I was working with him, I was still going through this other thing. However, after I escaped, which took a whole lot of people getting on my side, a lot. I was working for the city of Fresno at the time, and he worked there too. The rapist I had gotten engaged to without knowing what he was. And he had threatened my life and he had threatened my family's lives. And so 2.5 years later, I'm still wondering how to get out of this with my life and without anyone getting hurt. And it was really scary because what ultimately had to happen, which I was really attempting to avoid and stayed longer because of it, I didn't want him doing this to someone else. And what ended up happening, I had to allow him to be with another woman and doing the same to her before I was free enough to get away. So that was very hard. I knew he was with someone else, and I knew, it was really scary. So I had a lot of people on my side. I would say 20 or 30 people where I worked, and they were all setting things up so that I could get away safely. And I did. And then of course you realize after, a lot of times their bark is their their bark is worse than their bite. People who attack people are just extremely insecure, and they look for people who look to be less secure than they are. And that was me. So I did get away. And fortunately, the Native American medicine man I was working with, George, it was just an hour of hypnosis. And what he did, and the H word scares people a lot. So let me just explain. If you've ever driven home from somewhere, work or the store, and you don't remember the drive, but you got home safely, you were in hypnosis. It's just when your conscious mind is on a break and your subconscious takes over. And that's its job. And so when you tap into that part of you, you can release anything you need to release. You can heal from things quickly because that's your power center. I call it your inner power. That's where it is. And it's the control center for our lives. And and that's what happens when you're working with someone who really knows what they're doing with hypnosis, or I call it guided visualization. It's the same thing in my world. And so tapping into that deep part of you is super easy. It's so simple. It's so fast. In an hour, I healed all the drama and trauma from 2.5 years of rape and domestic violence. And it was amazing because I know, like you mentioned in my story, I know that people suffer from the repercussions of those kinds of things the rest of their lives. And I know that isn't necessary for a lot of people. It isn't necessary. And by saying a lot of people, everyone isn't necessarily going to align with tapping into the subconscious mind and things. Everyone kind of goes on their own path and to heal or to live the way they need to live. And I work with a percentage of women who are really interested in getting things taken care of right now. And they trust that they can tap into that control center of their mind, because your subconscious mind runs 95 to 99% of your life by default. So as much as we do, and as many wonderful habits as we create, and as much as we talk about problems, which I know for a fact most of the time re-traumatizes someone, and reliving the things just re-traumatizes as well. So we go the opposite way. We don't talk about problems at Positive Women Rock. We just talk about, here's the thing I want to solve. We go and solve it. We don't talk about problems. There's no need to relive painful experiences ever, because we're going the subconscious mind, switching everything around in a few minutes or an hour. And it's a whole different way of doing things than is generally talked about out there. And it does work, and it's wonderful. And I get to hang out on the phone with cool women every day, and they're having huge transformations because we're adjusting things in that control center, in the part of you that runs 95 to 99% of your life anyway. Because if you do all the things and you talk about things and you read all the books and go to all the webinars and you do all this deep coaching and all this stuff, you're still only in control of 1 to 5% of your life. That other part, the 95 to 99%, your subconscious mind controls, you're not really, you can't change that unless you're actually going to go in and do it. And it's super fast. It's easy. It's miraculous is what it is. I'm so used to miracles happening at Positive Women Rock, and they still freak me out. Every time someone has this huge transformation or something changes, I was like, wow, this stuff really works, even though I know it does. And I've been doing it for years. It's amazing. So that's my story. After that, after I was able to heal from that so quickly, everything just aligned, and the lessons I was supposed to learn were learned. Sometimes we know solutions, like I mentioned, and we're still supposed to go through some stuff because we're supposed to learn some lessons. But I created a self-defense class, very simple. Simple, quick, and effective is my motto. And when I went to 1 hour of hypnosis to get rid of all that junk, simple, quick, and effective was definitely what happened. And I, of course, felt vulnerable after being in that situation for so long. And you would, even after being in the situation for an hour, if you were raped or domestic violence, even for an hour, an attack of some kind, you feel very vulnerable. And when we feel that way, our subconscious mind believes that we're a victim because we just were. And it's like it puts a big V on our forehead, like standing for victim. And attackers can pick us out of a crowd. It's so easy. I can do that with people too. When I'm speaking in front of a large audience, I can say just a few words and I can tell exactly who came from that background. I can tell a whole lot about people because I'm watching the body language, and I work with energy all the time, so I can feel someone's energy and know kind of where they are. And so I took a bunch of self-defense classes because I felt very vulnerable and at risk. After this happened, I didn't want it to happen again. And what happened was I took a bunch of them because the first one and the second one and the third one didn't teach me anything that would have worked. And the instructors were wonderful. They were usually men. I'd say 99% of them were men, which is fine. They were ex-cops. They were big men who could have easily been much stronger than me, of course. Some were martial artists, and none of them had been raped. None of them had been attacked. And although they were doing their very, very best and teaching what they knew, I had been in a situation for so long. I knew that the things they were teaching weren't going to work. A 7-step technique to get it to work, you can't remember that when you're scared to death for your life. And so I couldn't even remember the techniques until I got home, and I felt worse. I felt scared to death because I had just learned what to do to prevent this from happening again, and I couldn't remember what it was. So I felt stupid. I felt embarrassed. I felt so much more at risk than I had before I went to self-defense classes. And so I would see women walking out. It was usually women in the classes. I would see them walking out and they were so confident. And confidence does repel attackers because, remember, I said attackers are very insecure and they're looking for someone who feels weaker than they do. So confident body language is great to repel those and to repel people looking for a victim. However, these women were walking out confident because they thought they knew how to defend themselves, and I knew better. And it was really scary. I was afraid for them. I was afraid for me. And there was all that fear just creates all this negative energy that brings more junk to you. That's going to create more fear because that's how our energy works. Our emotions are the most powerful creative energy we have. And so whatever you're feeling, you're drawing more of things to feel that way again toward you. So I created my own self-defense course, and it was just 3 hours, very fun. We laughed a lot. We laughed a lot during and it's I mean, you have to remember that people remember 300, we remember 300% more of what we're learning when we're laughing. So even a topic like self-defense, where someone has to admit, they have to admit to themselves, gosh, I could be a victim. That's scary. So once they get to the class after admitting that, then it's really fun and empowering, and they realize how loud they are and how strong they are, and that they don't actually need any strength to fight someone off. And it was just completely opposite of all the courses I had taken. And I did that by dissecting what I remembered and pulling out the one motion movements that the body could remember. It could be muscle memory, super simple. And just one motion movements can easily save your life. So it was really, really fun. And I had to scare the stuff out of people to get them to come, because everybody wanted to bury their head in the sand and hope it didn't happen to them. And
Right.
as that went along, after 12 years teaching in person, thousands of men, women, teens, and kids how to avoid becoming a victim, which was personal safety, and then how to get away if they did, and that was the self-defense part. I realized I was so tired. I was on the news all the time too, because unfortunately crime was always in the news, and I was on the news all the time. So I'd get recognized places, which was kind of fun for a while. And I realized I'm so tired of scaring people into coming to my classes. And I was teaching so much self-esteem and self-confidence things, the body language and stuff like that. I thought, well, heck, I could do something like coaching in a happy topic, and I wouldn't have to scare people, and I'd still get to teach the good stuff. And so I became a life coach and got trained and certified, and I got certified in hypnosis because George had taught me that when I was 22. And I knew all that stuff, but I was then going to do it as a business. And it's been amazing. It's so much fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What a story. So for those of you who are tuning in right now, please comment below if this is resonating with you. We have George here from Massachusetts with all the love. Now, we do have a comment from a coach, which is abuse is not tolerable, and abusers can be allowed to come with excuses. I'm not sure what that means, but I think that was because we're live right now on my personal page. We're live right now on my fan page, which is Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. Plus, we're live on my YouTube channel. So, so this is very interesting. So what were the strategies that you implemented? When did you start your life coaching business? And how long have you been in business? Because I know when you and I talked, I know you love simplicity.
Yes. Big fan of simple.
Yes. So what were the strategies that you implemented in order for women to feel confident about themselves, to live a truly happy life for themselves, and to heal from these traumas? Because there are some women who I know who are struggling. They've gone through domestic abuse. They've gone through some sort of trauma, and it's sort of like a reoccurring event. They experience something that happened in the past. In other words, something came up. What triggers it? The triggers. So can you elaborate on that for us?
Sure.
Help a lot of women here who are.
Yeah, and I know a lot too, Angeline, who have been through similar situations. And I find that a lot of people get triggered back to that by pretty much anything during the day. I mean, you can get triggered back to it and not even realize that that's what it's going back to. Since fear and anger and shame and things like that are all connected to being attacked, even though it isn't our fault. Regardless of what we're wearing, people still say, well, what was she wearing or what was she doing? It's like, just like that gentleman said, it's like, there is no excuse to attack.
There is no excuse, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I remember, so I remember telling people that the first rape that happened to me was on a date, and it wasn't the person I was engaged to. Back then, and I don't even do this business, that particular, the self-defense stuff anymore. But then there was the statistics where there's an 80% chance you'll be attacked by raped by someone else within 2 years if you've been a rape victim. And
Wow.
and it's probably still the same. The reason for that is that, remember the V that goes on our head our forehead once we've been attacked, and we're feeling like a victim inside because that's a subconscious mind. So anytime shame or fear or anger is happening in our life in any other area, it can easily trigger back to that situation. And we can feel like
Okay.
it's our fault because of the shame that's involved. And plus, of course, it just happens that we feel like, well, I must have done something, especially if you're engaged to someone and they're telling you they love you and this is happening. And you're thinking, I must be doing something wrong because why would someone who loves me treat me this way? Which a lot of women feel. So to answer your question, if there's anger or fear or sadness or guilt or shame or anything that happens during our day, just with any topic, it can trigger back to that big thing. And it brings all that snowball of emotion. So the
There you go.
subconscious mind stores up all of the lessons we've learned and the lessons our ancestors have learned, and it passes those down to us. So by the time we're born, we have this huge snowball of all these wonderful emotions that people in our bloodline have experienced, and also all of the negative ones. And we do need those lessons because our subconscious mind's number one job is to keep us safe. It's our survival, it's its job. However, we don't need all the baggage wrapped around those lessons, but we get it. So as children, we have all this emotion that comes with us, and it snowballs over time. So when someone has had an attack of some kind like that, and they feel fear, they feel anger, they feel shame or guilt or sadness or whatever it is, whatever the feelings are, and there's a lot of them involved in it. Those just kind of go knock, knock, knock on that big snowball of emotion, of the same emotion that has snowballed over generations and all through our lives. So every time we feel something, it's adding to the snowball. In Positive Women Rock, we call them negative emotional junk balls. And we release them.
Oh, wow. I love the name.
I'll have clients text me and they're like, I have a junk ball. I was like, okay, let's jump on the phone. Yeah, negative emotional junk balls, because we want all the love and passion, all those wonderful things that we get passed down to us as well. But when they're the negative things, those just keep getting triggered again and again. So what happens is, especially when we've had a traumatic situation like that, what happens is a lot of that emotion isn't ours. It isn't ours to start with. And when we realize that the subconscious mind, as wonderful as it is protecting us, it has saved everything up like it's a storage locker. And we don't need all that emotional baggage because that's what's getting triggered. And it could have belonged to someone before us. And it could be back in childhood, of course. And so when those things get triggered again and again, it just gets bigger. And so I want people to know that it is completely possible, doable. I do it every day with clients, to release those big snowballs of emotion and keep all the lessons. So you're safe. So your survival is there. Your subconscious mind is doing its job. It's just that you can get rid of all the baggage and it stops getting triggered. So when something happens, when you get scared or angry or feel, a twinge of shame or something, it's a tiny percentage compared to all the rest that had snowballed, because there's no more snowball. So that's what we do at Positive Women Rock. We just use guided visualization and we go back and release all of the emotional junk balls. And then it's like having a whole new life and you have all this wonderful space for some good things. And without reliving things and without dwelling on problems and all of that, which is scary. That's why a lot of people won't go to do something deep like that, because they've heard, and so have I, about having to go back and relive everything and come out as the victor instead of the victim and things like that. I don't believe in that at all. I help people after they've been re-traumatized like that. So ours is just very simple. Jump on their phone, go back, release the emotional junk balls, and your whole life changes instantly because everything's immediate when you're working with your control center and getting in the driver's seat of your life instead of the passenger seat wondering where the heck you're going to end up.
Right, exactly. And you do this in how many sessions?
There are programs, so it depends on the person. I have my biggest program, though, is only 30 days. It's fast.
Wow.
So
So it's fast.
yesterday I released 3 major, we call them the big 3, the first big 3 we release.
Right.
We did those in an hour. And then we, there's lots of them. Like if you were to release, for example, the emotional junk ball of fear, it's big. We all have big, because it's snowballed. And of course we have little fears, big fears, and they all pile onto each other and get larger and larger. And, so when you release that, it's a huge weight off your shoulders. And people have to, the women I work with, they have to hang out by themselves for 8 hours or so, sometimes a little bit longer, because their body chemistry and brain chemistry has to catch up with what we did. That's how powerful it is. We're working with the emotional body, and you have a physical body, a mental body, and a spiritual body. So we work with the emotional body and clear all the junk out. And physical ailments are caused by emotion. So physical ailments clear up as well. And I have, oh my gosh, mind-blowing success stories from my clients on my website. Just amazing things where people have healed their bodies almost overnight. Oh, one lady, Emily, she had knee pain for 2 years. And we were on the phone together doing a coaching call. We didn't even do energy work, but I can pinpoint what's going on with someone and what the issue is. So I talked with her, the knee pain, she was heading for surgery for her knee.
Right.
And I told her what it was, and we released it just talking. We weren't even in hypnosis. And the pain went away. And that was about 5 years ago. It's never returned, just from a conversation. So
just a conversation. And she didn't have to go for surgery then.
Pardon me?
She didn't have to go for surgery? Did she have to go?
No surgery. Several of my clients have prevented surgery, or they've asked for scans or whatever before surgery, and they'll say, the doctor, say, oh, we already did that. And they're like, you need to do it again. And they do it again. There's no need for surgery. That's happened quite a bit. Yeah, because if you look at, like we have 4 bodies, the top, like if you picture a tower of balls balancing on one another, it's kind of hard to keep balls balancing on a tower like that. But
right, exactly.
Yeah, the spiritual body's on top, the mental body's beneath that. That's our thinking. The emotional body, remember, your most powerful creative energy is your emotions, whatever you're feeling at any given moment for 16 seconds or longer. The emotional body's down, the third one down, and then the physical body. So whatever's showing up in your physical body is simply wanting your attention because the emotional body is needing some help. And that's what we do. Releasing junk balls is releasing the emotions we don't need any more of, the emotional baggage, and clearing that out. And your body has to heal or start to heal or be more open to whatever you're doing to heal. So sometimes medications and things maybe aren't working for someone, and it's something that's in the subconscious mind preventing that, or maybe an unworthy thing where they aren't feeling worthy of healing. I had that one. We all have a lot of junk balls, and I release my own all the time too. And as an example, if you release that belief of unworthiness, then your body can allow the medication or whatever your practitioner is giving you, can allow that to start helping you. Like I had 6 solid weeks of hot flashes. I mean, solid, like I couldn't leave my home. I was mortified. And funny that we help everyone else. And then we're like, how come, I finally said, what would I tell a client? And I'm like, well, hello, this is a physical thing. So it's got to be an emotional cause. And the emotional cause that I found was unworthy of physical heal. No, it was out of control. That's what it was. Out of control was the emotion. And I thought, I don't feel out of control, but these things are underlying. They're beneath the surface. And so even though something we bring up may not sound at all like you now, it's been rolled down from maybe a lot of people and it just kept getting triggered. So I felt out of control. I released it, got the hot flashes from constant down to 2 per day. And then I said a big giant prayer to God, who's my number one, and went away. No more. He took care of the last 2 every day. And that was in 2013. I've never had a hot flash since. And I'm going to be 60 in a couple months. I've never had one since. So It's amazing. So that's the kind of stuff we can do. It's like miraculous. Like, and people say, well, that's not possible. I'm like, I know. I know, but it still happens.
Right. But it still is, right?
Yeah.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
But especially healing from trauma or, like a reoccurring event. And I like what you said, that you don't have your women go back and relive what happened, because it's only going to increase the anxiety.
Yep.
Yeah. It's only going to increase the anxiety. And there's a snowball effect.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Snowball
Yeah,
effect.
there is. And sometimes therapy, talking about things, will help someone to a certain extent. And
Right.
that's great if that's helping. And going over and over and over problems. Remember, and everybody has these, there are plenty of places where you can go and talk with people about problems. And
Yes.
once you join all of your energy focused on problems together, it just magnifies. And then everyone has more of the emotion that they aren't wanting. And remember, our emotions, our feelings, are our most creative, our most powerful creative energy. So just focusing on something that's negative for 16 seconds or longer, I mean, that it takes that long to tell someone your problem. And so everyone getting together, focusing on it, just magnifies the energy. And there's this huge thing, and it's bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it feels kind of good to get it off your chest. However, it was very temporary. And what you've then done is magnify the energy by joining with others focused on the same thing. And that's dangerous. I mean, look at what's going on in the world right now with the virus. Everyone's focused on it. How can we possibly stop all this while everybody is completely focused on all the horrible things that have been happening? It just keeps it going, perpetuates itself. So,
right, I was just going to say that.
So there are ways to just stop it. And that it has to do with the subconscious mind. So it's so important to realize this is completely possible, and that the subconscious mind runs 95 to 99% of our lives by default. So, I mean, no matter what we're doing, thinking, talking about, physically doing, creating new habits, meditating, whatever it is, we still only have control of 1 to 5% of our lives. And so it makes complete sense to tap into our inner power, which is right there for us. Our subconscious mind loves to be on our side and support us. It accidentally sabotages us, though, because it's saving everything, including all the negative emotional baggage that we need to release. So it's that simple.
It's that simple. Yeah, there you go. And you did it. You were able to do it.
I wouldn't have believed it had that not happened to me. And so, and I'm not all over social media like you are. I was telling you how much I appreciate and admire you for being everywhere.
Thank you. I know. Sometimes I think I'm too much out there, but I'm out there.
You are reaching so many people and inspiring and helping so many people. And I so appreciate you. And that isn't me. I'm over here quiet in my home office on the phone with a woman doing a big transformation. And then I get to meet the people who would like to do that by, connecting with people like you. And that's wonderful. If I was on social media all the time, my brain would explode. I really like simple things, and I'm just in awe of people who can do it all like that. And I just had to finally realize that isn't me. I go crazy when I have to do all this stuff. It's too stressful. So I just do my thing that I specialize in, and love to connect with people who are really out there and making a difference, like you, and bringing these options to your audience. That is such a gift to everyone, and it's such a blessing, and it's truly a wonderful purpose for you. You're great at it.
I found my true purpose in life, and this happened right before the pandemic hit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
An awakening happened.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit, and I said, okay, well, now that everything is shut down, brick and mortar businesses were shut down. Like, our whole country basically shut down.
Yep.
It was time.
Yeah. much of the world shut down. It just so huge. And oh, here's something interesting, and it has to do with what you just said. When our whole country shut down, guided visualization is like meditation is focusing on one thing to stop the mental clutter, the brain mind chatter, which literally
Right.
is impossible for the subconscious mind to do, because that isn't how it works. So
That's not how
that's
it is, right.
and yeah, so that's a tough one to do. Meditating correctly to stop the mind chatter, but calming and relaxing is great to do that way. Guided visualization is very active. It's being guided to by someone who does know what the heck they're doing. It's being guided. That's an important part. It's being guided to make something happen, or encourage something to happen, or be inspired, or something like that. So it's very active. It isn't shutting out the mind chatter. It's switching the mind chatter to something we want. And so if you think about it, we're always in a guided visualization anyway, because if we're watching the news or hearing about it or reading about it, we're all focused on our future with the virus, or with masks, or with death, or with pain, or with uncertainty and all that. We're in a guided visualization, but we're being guided by the negative news and all the fear and anger and stuff, and sadness. My gosh, so much sadness. And doesn't it just make sense to have a different visualization? Because the
Absolutely.
subconscious mind is listening. It's paying attention and believing everything you tell it. That's why self-talk is so important, that it's positive. Very, very
Oh, yeah.
important.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Positive self-talk is very important.
Yeah. If you just,
And not watching the news. I don't have a TV in my apartment, and that's on purpose, because I'm not going to watch the news. I refuse to watch the news. I
good for
refuse.
you.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't watch the news. I know what's going on, but I don't watch
Mhm.
the news. Okay.
Yeah, and if you
I
need to
just
know
don't want
something, there's
someone,
ways to find out, and someone will tell you, "Hey,
someone
Angeline,
to
something's
tell
going
me,
on."
but then I say, okay, because I'm not focused on the news. It's only going to make things worse. It's depressing. And you want to talk about that. That's really going to put someone in a negative state of
Oh my
mind.
gosh. Yeah. So if we and we usually, I want to know what's going on, and then I want to get out of there as soon as possible. Say, okay, that's what's going on with the world. Now I know, now I actually know how to help people better, because I can see what's going on and I can guide them, towards come to the bright side. There's so much
I
we
like
can
that. Go to
do.
the bright side instead of the dark side.
Yeah. Yep. And
Yes,
so if
exactly.
the same thing, like when we're working together, talking, like if we happen to be talking about problems for 16 seconds or longer, I mean, that's a short amount of time to start everything going and magnifying and getting bigger and bringing more of the same to us. So if we're talking about all the great things, there's tons of great things. I mean, my friends and I, my clients and I, and most of my close friends are clients, because I don't want to get together with someone and they're just talking about problems, because I'm thinking, if we release junk balls, you'll be thinking totally different, happier way. You'll be healthier,
Right,
you'll be happier, you'll
exactly.
have certainty about your future, you'll know where you're going, you'll be in the driver's seat and all that. So it's kind of stressful to hang out with people who are always talking about their problems. So I don't do that. Um, my friends and I are hanging around here in San Diego, or my clients, we have all these great solutions. We can solve the problems of the world. We are just talking about how good things are, and we can turn things around so quickly, because if you aren't getting triggered back to junk balls because they're gone, you
Right.
just feel a fraction of what you would have felt otherwise. All that junk that wasn't even yours to start with. And it's so much easier to focus on good, positive things. And I also teach the tools to learn exactly why everything happens. Because you'll hear people say, everything happens for a reason, and
Mhm.
which is true. And they may say, followed up with, and we may never know the reason. I completely disagree with that. I can point out the reason 100% of the time. It may
See?
be right now, or it may be in 6 months. I had a client text me and she said, I just realized, this was in December 1 year. She said, I just realized why I didn't get that job I wanted in April. You were
Oh.
right. I just didn't know then because I kept telling her there's a reason for this. This is supposed to happen this way because she had her energy cleared out and she was good. If she had had cruddy energy, well, you
Mhm.
attract the not getting the job. You attract the car accident. You attract the roof needing to be replaced when you can't afford it. And so she was cleared out and on a good path and she didn't get the job she wanted. But it wasn't until 6 months later when she realized why. And she was
Mm.
approached with her dream job. So she wouldn't have been available for that. She wouldn't have even been in the place where the person who offered it to her was at the time. So it's even the terrible things that happen, like rape and domestic violence. Um, it's I teach tools where you can pinpoint exactly why people say and do the things they say and do the way they say and do them 100% of the time. It's so simple. When you're working with the subconscious mind, everything becomes simple.
Exactly.
It all makes sense. And when things make sense, you don't stay up at night. You're not awakened during the night or have sleepless nights because you're stressed. Because most of that stress is about things we can't do anything about anyway. And the other part of it is usually that we don't understand something. We're doing our best to figure out like why did this happen and why did this person say this and are they upset with me and did I say something, and we go around and around and around. And when you realize that most of the stress that causes physical ailments and causes all this triggering and the more and more bad stuff, most of it isn't yours, and all of it can be explained so simply. There's no reason to be concerned about it anymore. It's like having superpowers, and it's so much fun, and it's so simple to learn. So that's what I get to do every day on the phone with cool women, and it's just amazing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And physical ailments can cause, all those, not the, the stress. I meant to say the stress can cause a lot of physical ailments. I mean, forget
Oh
it.
yeah, it's
Ooh.
I, it's the leading cause of physical ailments, stress. Like it's
Sure.
the I forgot what they said. All the statistics. There's like the people visiting doctors for whatever.
Right.
It was 80 or 85% of them. It's caused ultimately by stress.
It's stress related.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. We have a comment here from Mariel. So she goes, Angeline, this is what she says. Angeline, I agree with you 100% for exactly the same reason I don't read newspapers or watch the news. How is it good for me to know that a family of 5 lost their home in a fire or a family lost their child, grown or young, due to violence? Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm.
It's That's some really scary stuff, and because we're wonderful humans, we're going to feel the emotions. It's heartbreaking. It's scary, it's
Absolutely.
angering, it's sad. And then all those things come and then instantly we're attracting more of them. Instantly. Those stories last longer than 16 seconds. So when we're watching them, we're just joining in the chain of pain and creating more for everyone. So
There
yeah,
you go.
I know a lot of news reporters and newscasters from being on the news all the time and just, getting to know them as friends here and there. Um, they don't like reporting the negative stuff at all. I wouldn't be able to do it. And I just it's hard. I mean, how can you how I'm attempting to avoid the not word because the subconscious mind takes it out of sentences. But how can you not absorb all that negative stuff when you have to read it on a teleprompter and tell everybody? And then the energy coming back, because energy is invisible and very contagious. The energy
Yeah.
coming back from that and the energy you're sending out, just having to read it and talk about it, that's hard. That's really
Sure
hard.
it is. Sure it is.
So it's just creating more.
Creating more is right. That is unnecessary in this world.
Mhm.
So I know that you have a free gift that you would like to offer
Mhm.
to everyone here who is tuning in. So before we reach that, what is, because we're approaching the top of the hour already, which I'm super happy and blessed. And I'm glad that you're here because you're bringing a lot of things to light here. You know, a lot of things here on my podcast. So what is a special message that you would like to share to the women out there
It is
who are
possible.
suffering?
It
That
is
are
possible to
suffering.
heal, and it's possible to do it very quickly, and it's completely possible to do it without reliving all the stuff and without dwelling on problems. I don't know that
Right.
that's ever helped anybody, honestly. Just
No,
make
that's not
sure.
going to help anybody. That's not going to help
Yeah.
anybody.
And
And
also, everyone isn't going to resonate with going in their subconscious mind and adjusting from the inside out. I understand that. So I work with a percentage of people who are interested in that. And some people want to do it slowly because they feel that that's more doable. We do it fast. People come out of an hour or 20 minutes with me and during their program, and they're like, oh my gosh, I feel like a whole new person. And I record everything. I take copious notes and I record everything because they will just like, I didn't say that, or that doesn't sound like me afterward, after the month we are together. And we're together, you know, a few hours or a lot of hours, or there's an unlimited one where we get together all the time. It's a blast. We get so much done. They won't remember that they were that person before. It will look like a totally different person than they feel like now. So I have all the evidence that tells them you did say this and you did feel this way. I have it written down and it's recorded if you want a recording of it. And they'll say, no, I believe you. So it changes your life very quickly. And a lot of people aren't interested in changing quickly. Some people aren't interested in making a lot of improvement. Some people are very comfortable being in groups where, you know, they get to talk about problems and feel very connected to those people. And that's fine if that's where you are. If you want to really be in the rock star group and tap into your inner power, it won't be something you're going to go around telling everybody in your life. They won't believe it. So
they won't
talk to
believe
each
it,
other
right?
about it because we're the ones who understand all the things that we get to do in the programs and miraculous things. Other people may not ever even believe, but they do see your change. People often say, you look happier. Have you changed your hair, or your eyes look really bright today, or
Oh,
something?
yeah.
Things happen very quickly and other people notice. And sometimes I tell my clients, just keep it between us for a while until you're sure who to tell, because they'll think you're crazy. No one's used to changing and improving and feeling better this quickly when you've had such a terrible trauma that, like you said in my story, people deal with and suffer from for the rest of their life. No one's really accustomed to, yeah, I wiped it out in an hour. I feel great now. That doesn't seem possible.
Yeah.
And it
No,
is.
it doesn't. It doesn't. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And I know that you have life strategies in a PDF. So please share that with us. And where do people go?
positivewomenrock.com/gift. And that's just, I'm very into simplicity, like we talked about. It's one page, it's one PDF page, and it gives the 4 steps to 4 life strategies for a truly happy life.
Good.
And it'll talk a little bit about junk balls in there too, the emotional junk balls. So
Ah,
it's just quick and to the point. That's how I do things. And I just want people to know that it is possible. If it appeals to you, we'll talk. You'll see how to contact me there. And, just chat via email and set up an appointment and we'll get on the call and see if
all
we're a
right.
good
Very
fit.
good. Awesome. Awesome. So everyone, for those of you who are going to be watching the replay and listening to this podcast, please go to positivewomenrock.com/gift to pick up your free gift, that 1-page PDF, on life strategies for living a truly happy life. And I'm going to go through it myself too. So,
And you know what, Angeline, the other thing real quick, I do mini workshops that are 1 hour long, and we get to do the guided visualizations and things in those so people can really get an idea of what it's like to work together. Those
good.
are miraculous. And they're only an hour because we keep it simple, do it fast. Then you're done. You're like, holy cow, I have this whole wonderful tool I can use for the rest of my life. So I have really fun mini workshops. They're a blast. And I'm right there with you. Like you and I are now, we're right there working together. And there's always a
Right,
replay.
exactly, for 1 hour. So do they go to your website?
Yeah, it'll all be right there. They'll get access to that in the PDF. Yeah.
Good. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. I love simplicity too. I love simplicity too. So with the mini workshop, you're in a group? Is this like it's
Yeah,
like group or
yeah, we're working together online just like this. You can be on video or not on video. I'm not really a fan of myself on video, so I'm on video, but showing some slides and talking people through things. And then we sometimes there are 5 people there, sometimes there are 10, sometimes there's 1. So we get all this done really quickly, and I don't care how many people are there or how few people are there, because the right people are always there. And we can see what it's like to work together, and you get wonderful results. I'm big on results. I provide results so tangible you can hang it on the wall, which is unusual for personal growth stuff. And so you get results right then, right in the mini workshop. And you can also see what it's like to work together and see if it might be a good fit for you.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
I'm very selective because I have to know for sure you'll be a success story at what we do together. And I have huge success stories on my website too that you can check out too. So
perfect. Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, so your website is beautiful, by the way. I went through your website. Absolutely beautiful. So please go to pick up your free gift at positivewomenrock.com/gift. And we are coming up at the top of the hour. So I would like to thank you, Kelly, for taking the time from your busy schedule today to be on my show, which I really, really appreciate. Thank you so much. Thank you. And episodes are available again at letsbreakthesilence.com. And please like and subscribe to my podcast on Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, Apple, and all the live streams. And it's Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. So I am super happy and blessed that you were here today, Kelly. This broadcast is coming to a close. And if you are catching the replay, just let us know by hashtagging replay. Share this live out with someone who needs to hear this message. And if anyone is interested in contacting Kelly here, please go to her website here at positivewomenrock.com/gift to pick up your free gift and schedule a call. So with that being said, thank you, George. Thanks for the kisses. George is a great man. So this broadcast is coming to a close. So have yourselves a wonderful day. And Kelly, please stay for a little bit after the broadcast.
Okay.
In the room. So we will see you all later. Bye for now.